Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Gilmore Sisters, a Rant Podcast, presented to you by the Cereal Box and hosted by the lovely ladies of Phoenix Sisters Cosplay. Well, I think we're lovely anyway. And if you're listening to this podcast, odds are you probably do too. Unless you hate listening to us, which, let's be honest, a lot of Gilmore Girls fans will also hate watching the show, so we're cool with that too. Let me bring it to our wonderful intro. And no, that's totally not Crayle of the Phoenix Sisters voice, let me tell you. La 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 la. Gilmore Sisters.
Gilmore Sisters is a Phoenix Sisters cosplay production and is hosted by the Cereal Box Network. Pokeballs by Crayle is your one-stop shop for handmade magical creations that celebrate all the Pokemon universe has to offer. Available on CrayleVanest.com, that's CrayleVanest.com, and possibly coming to a con near you.
One nightmare destroyed Aidan O'Donnell. Aidan Gray, aka Scorcher, was born out of those ashes. The Forces of Nature trilogy is about the destructive powers of having superpowers that you don't understand and can't control. It's about redemption, about finding love and finding yourself. You can find the first two books, Scorcher and Thin Ice, online wherever books are sold. You can also pre-order the upcoming audiobook for Scorcher at www.kellyguentner.com. That's www.KELLYGUENTNER. All right. So let's get into it. What are we discussing today, Crayle?
We are talking about the mysterious past of Emily Gilmore.
Yes.
I'm a pretty hardcore Gilmore Girls fan. Do we ever hear Emily's maiden name?
No.
I wanted it for the episode title, right? When I was prepping this week, and I was like...
And you've literally watched Gilmore Girls like a million times.
Oh my gosh, I'm saving the season finale in reserve right now. I always have a really big pause in between the second to last episode, Onto the Breach, and the last episode, the series finale, because I make myself actually like watch it with my face. And a lot of times I'm actually just listening to the show, like it's playing on video somewhere. So I wonder when I'm going to make myself sit down and look at the screen.
And cry.
Not
you
every
cry every time you watch it.
Not every time, not that one.
Okay, I tear up every time when Richard tells Lorelai to look around at all that she's built and how much the town loves her and Rory. Every freaking time I tear up. I don't like tears don't fall every time, but I get choked up every time. It is a beautiful moment. And then there's a few other beautiful moments. I have to rewatch the finale so I can be refreshing my memory, but that moment gets me every damn time.
The other super emotional one is when Lorelai walks up to Luke and she's like, "You did all of this because
yeah,
you know, somebody told her, of course. He wasn't going to tell her." And he's like,
never.
"I just like to see you happy."
Right. And then when Lorelai's stressing, she's like, "Do you have this? Do you have this? Do you have this?" And then Rory's like, "Mom, I have everything I need."
We might have to do an episode just about the series finale.
Yes.
Because we are already off topic in, true Phoenix Sisters fashion here.
It's on brand. It is on brand. Okay, so let's get back to, well, you know what? That's because there's nothing to talk about with Emily's history.
Like, this is literally an episode about all the things we don't know about Emily Gilmore. Like, what we know about 2 facts about her from before she met Richard, from before she was like trying actively to date Richard Gilmore, right? So we know that for her 21st birthday, she wanted her invitations to be lined in real pearls. And the only other story we really have from before they were married is still kind of about Richard. It's about how she would go and put on her wedding dress every night, like sneak out of her room after her mother fell asleep. So I guess we can infer from that she was still living with her mother after she graduated college, in between graduating and marrying Richard.
Wow. But like, who are her parents? Did she come from money? I assume she came from money, but then we don't know because Richard's mom did not approve of her.
Oh,
Like,
no. We know one other thing. We know she has a sister named Hopi who doesn't live in the country.
oh, I forgot about Hopi. Like, she was mentioned once, maybe?
Yeah, in the first season, the episode where Rory stays over at Richard and Emily's overnight because there's a really bad storm.
Right.
And they go through a photo album by candlelight.
That was a great moment, great episode. But I liked Rory bonding with her grandparents. That was a really cute part
I
of the episode. Way better than Lorelai's weird date with Max. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I guess it's cute if you ship them, but nobody ships them, let's be real.
I mean, we made that our very first episode, was what the heck was up with that whole Max relationship. So wherever you're listening to this, if you were not a big fan, or if you were a big fan and you want to be like, I need to hate listen to this right now because how dare they besmirch the name of Max Medina, we have these set up in playlists on most of the listening services. Just go to episode 1.
Yep.
So
Yep. To be fair, we're not besmirching the name of Max Medina. It's just Max and Lorelai together. Yeah.
true. I did like Max Medina as a person. I'm with everybody else in Stars Hollow on that, who's like, yeah, you really treated him like crap, Lorelai.
Yeah, Lorelai's a hot mess. We know this. She treats all her boyfriends like crap, Luke included.
Yeah, that's gonna have to be its own episode too. Lorelai's super unhealthy relationships, but she's
Add to
trying
the
so
list.
well, she's trying so desperately to not be her mother. She has an episode where she can't remember if she liked Pop-Tarts or not, or if she just knew her mother wouldn't like her eating a Pop-Tart, right? Where she's just wearing her hair differently and everything. And,
Right.
that actually does bring it back into this episode because we don't know anything about Emily outside of the way her life is with Richard, her romantic partner in her life. And Lorelai doesn't want to be like that, right?
Yeah, which is fair. Yeah, and so Emily, we do know that Emily was not the choice for who Richard's family's choice for him because he was engaged
to
before Emily
Penelon
came along.
Lot.
Yes, which is a little scandalous, and that's interesting because of how much Emily clutches at her pearls about everything, but also that kind of makes sense that Emily would be so uptight and want to preserve the family name and kind of want to present this perfect image because she wants to prove herself, right?
Right. And um part of the reason it's so hurtful to her, I think, that the greater Lorelai, Gran, uh rejected her so much is she's like, I've assimilated my entire life into the
Yep.
Gilmore name, into the Gilmore family, and nothing is ever enough.
Yeah, she literally has no existence outside of that. We don't know her maiden name. We don't know if she had any hopes and dreams beyond being a wife and a mother and a homemaker. We don't know what she was before she met Richard.
She was a history major at Smith.
Oh, okay. So what was she going to do with that? Did she always want to be a wife? Like, probably,
I think
probably
she
a
tells
lot.
Lorelai that in the episode "I'm a Kayak, Hear Me Roar," that she intended to be a wife even when she went to college. But even
Yeah, that
still,
fits.
like, we hear so much stuff about Richard's childhood, about how his father died when he was young, about how his mother told him that life is a battle and you enter it armed or you surrender immediately. We know that Richard's grandmother taught him how to make that gross Johnny Machete dish that Emily hated.
Right.
That when he was in a bad mood, his family would make him mock turtle soup. We know so many things about Richard's childhood.
But what do we know about Emily's childhood? Nothing.
I have a side note
And
about I Am Kayak, Hear Me Roar.
oh, yes.
It really bothers me that that's the episode title, I Am Kayak, or I'm a Kayak, Hear Me Roar. Because what Lorelai says is, I am Kayak, hear me roar. And every time I hear her say it, it's a funny line. It's perfect that the episode is named after it. Why did they change it to I'm a Kayak? That's the same length.
It's so weird. Probably because they didn't want people to judge them for being grammatically incorrect, even though the whole point of a line like that is to be grammatically incorrect, like Tarzan. Like, they
It,
missed the point.
yeah.
They really missed why that line was funny. That is a problem.
So, do y'all want to hear our fun side fan theory about why we don't know anything about Emily? Because it's kind of sad to think that she completely assimilated just to please Gran and never get that, find out after Gran is dead that she never ever proved there was never any hope, right? We have a more fun
Right.
theory.
Yes, we do. Because you all are listening for our offbeat fan theories and weirdness. So let's do it. What's the theory, Crayle? I'm so
Okay,
excited.
so Emily doesn't talk about her past very much, and we don't know very much about her past because she wasn't born into the vampire or fae business. She became a Gilmore when she became whatever mythical creature they all are in this show. And her memories from when she was a human are fuzzy. And that's why Gran didn't approve of her. How dare you bring a human into this mess?
I mean, you know what? It makes sense.
And we've been leaning more and more away from the vampire theory into maybe they're all fae. They don't sleep. They're weird about food and feeding people. Oh gosh, Kelly, what were some of your other points for fae folk instead of vampires?
They're weird about money and they're supernaturally beautiful, which granted, a lot of vampires are supernaturally beautiful too.
But there's a
But
lot more variety of body type and ways to be pretty in fairies
yes.
than there are in vampires. But I feel like if you were to ask Lorelai, like, hey, is your mom a vampire or a fairy? She'd be like, oh, she's definitely a vampire. She sucks the life out of everyone around her.
Oh yeah. But you know what? That would be typical fae evasion.
It could
They're actually
be.
fairies. Yep. So
It,
depending on the lore, can fairies lie? Ooh, I might have to.
oh, some of them
And some
can't. In some, you go ahead.
and some can. Oh yeah. I I was just finishing your sentence.
Oh, of course you were.
We
Oh,
finish each other's sandwiches.
We do. If you are just now joining us for some reason, this is Gilmore Sisters, a rant podcast. We're talking about the mysterious past or lack thereof of Emily Gilmore here on the Cereal Box Network. And currently we're trying to decide if all of Emily Gilmore's weirdness makes her fit more in the denizens of Stars Hollow and the Gilmore family, etc., are vampires or fairies. Maybe it's a vampires versus fairies thing, you know? Maybe the rich weirdos of Hartford are vampires and Stars Hollow is a fairy refuge.
I could get on board with that. And you know what? Maybe Emily was the vampire and she turned them all into vampires. And that's why she can't remember, because her human life was so long ago. It was hundreds of years ago.
Maybe
And then
that's
she
it.
turned Richard into a vampire. And of course, Lorelai is their
Well,
vampire offspring.
everyone knows something's going on with her, though, because remember when Jason is like, I just got a personal trainer. You, Emily, have cheated God.
That is true.
I loved Jason so much. I mean, I was always team Luke and Lorelai, but if it was going to take them a while to get there, Jason was a nice oddball character to throw in the mix for Lorelai.
Yeah, they had kind of a fun screwball chemistry. He was better than Max.
And their relationship made more sense than Max. Ooh,
Yep.
Maybe we need to have just a Jason episode.
I would be down.
There's a lot of weirdness there to talk about. His weird dog. I think I could probably talk for 20 minutes just about how weird his dog is.
Yes. Okay. I can add that to the list.
I can hear the wheels in Kelly's head turning. Did Jason have a dog? He did. That's what's so weird about it, is the dog never makes a sound.
Right? Yeah, I was trying to remember. Like, he had a dog? What? Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah, Jason was a character. They're all characters, but my goodness.
They are, but Emily is a character without a past, which is weird. Everybody talks about themselves plenty. I mean, Babette is like one of the most side characters, and we know that she was in a cult once because a guy she was dating inducted her into a cult.
Yeah, yeah. I got nothing here. Like, I feel like we know more about Tristan's past.
Oh my gosh, right? We know so
only
much.
In the first like 2 seasons. Was he even in season 2? I don't even remember.
He was in like 3 or 4 episodes of season 2. He leaves at the beginning of the school year because he gets into his friend either Duncan or Bowman's dad's safe.
AKA he defected to One Tree Hill.
Yeah, well.
We know more about Lane's boyfriend Dave's past.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't remember if we actually do, but I think we do.
Probably, considering we know like 3 or 4 things about Emily's past.
At some point, we also need to talk about the fact that we never meet Mr. Kim or know for sure if there is a Mr. Kim.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we will have to talk about that at some point.
Future episode. But yeah, I think we've said all we can about Emily's lack of past.
Yeah,
do you have any other thoughts?
Oh gosh, if you give me a second, I'm sure I can come up with like one more maybe, but yeah, if you all remembered any morsel, crumb of a detail about Emily's past that we forgot, drop it in the comments. We need to remember, and also we need to know your vote. Is Emily a vampire? Is she a fairy? Is there some other reason she is the way she is? Outside of, you know, the obvious, like, she probably also grew up in a weird, insulated, rich girl world with a bunch of emotional distance between herself and others. You know what? Actually, talk about that too. Talk to break that down as much as you want. That's one of the reasons we watch the show, right?
Yep.
She's one of the titular Gilmore Girls. I will fight anybody who says that Gilmore Girls doesn't also apply to Emily.
Anyone who says that is not paying attention. That's insanity.
Right?
She absolutely is. And she is an amazing, multi-layered character. She's not always likable, but that's part of her appeal because I love Emily. Like, I don't always like Emily, but I love Emily. She is an interesting, fascinating character.
Same. But yeah, we know almost nothing about her past when she's one of the titular characters. So.
And she's in the credits. Like, Richard's actor, Ed Herman, is always in the credits as a guest star. She's in the credits as part of the main cast.
Yeah, it's like Lauren Graham, Alexis Bledel, Kelly Bishop. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, so definitely drop us a line. We want to hear from y'all.
We do. And hey, if you want to support this show or the network of various nerdy shows of great content like this, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/cerealboxpod. That's buymeacoffee.com/cerealboxpod. If you leave a comment saying that Gilmore Girls brought you there with your contribution, that's great. But really, this entire network of hosts supports each other. We are all about bringing empowering, uplifting, or just stuff that brings fandom communities together. The Cereal Box Network is non-toxic, gatekeeping free, and we would really love to see some support from you there. Or if you hate us, leave a really mean message about what we need to do better, as long as you also contribute, contribute generously. If you hate this podcast, we'll get better.
Yes, please.
All right.
So thank you for listening or watching. And we have been Kelly and Crayle of Phoenix Sisters, and this has been Gilmore Sisters. Have a great and magical night.
Bye.
Bye.